my inspiration came from playing in church and seeing the organ player and the drummer and the musicals that we had. I would say musically, my concept and the way I heard music was highly affected by that. And of course, when I got into school, of course, when you get to the 5th grade, you have an opportunity, either the 4th or the 5th, you have an opportunity to start playing an instrument. I started on the violin. I did that for 2 years. Then I went, after that, I started playing the saxophone, tenor saxophone. But I was also attracted to the drums, but I didn't ever get a chance to learn the drums early in there. Of course, I won't say that because I did play in church. But coming up in that environment, and when I started actually on the saxophone, I would pick up my instrument, my saxophone, and I would learn songs that came on the radio. Also, I would play at church for certain special events, and when people needed me to, my dad was always encouraging me, play Amazing Grace, play Blessed Assurance, play Jesus Keep Me Near the Cross. You know, he wanted me to play these hymns and stuff for people to kind of show off to family and friends. Say, go get your saxophone, you know. So it was always a thing that my dad pushed me. He encouraged me, and he really kept me on my toes. But when it comes to practicing and progressing, I always had like a drive to do it. And I'm visually impaired. I was born visually impaired, through the trauma at birth or something that put scar tissue on my retina. So, you know, I can see, but I had to get closer to certain things in order to make it out. But when it comes to learning music, I picked up stuff fairly quickly by ear, and I could, you know, retain a lot of music that way. So that's how I've been conditioned. So my career, I would say, my mother was a teacher, so she had the internet and the computer, and so I started looking up stuff on the internet about music and jazz. And I had a teacher by the name of Rochella Parks at the time. Her last name is Washington now. She turned me on to old school jazz, or more straight ahead jazz, from people like Charlie Parker to Sonny Stitt, Sonny Rollins, Gene Ammons, Cannonball Adderley, James Clay, David Fathead Newman, Ornette Cobb. These kind of musicians, I started listening to their music and learning that. And then I would watch PBS, and PBS, it was Wynton Marsalis and his Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra. And so they were showing a lot of that stuff, and it really inspired me to want to do that. And so on the internet, when I started looking up stuff, I started looking up competitions actually programs like Betty Carter Jazz Ahead program, and I found out about the Thelonious Monk International Jazz Saxophone Competition, and one of the musicians that I was listening to was a lot at the time was Joshua Redman. So I set some goals, and I was like, I want to do that. And so over the years, I was able to participate in the Betty Carter Jazz Ahead program a couple times when I was in my early 20s, and then I was able to win 3rd place in the Thelonious Monk Jazz Saxophone Competition in 2008. So, you know, and I've been writing music since I was 15, and actually putting out tapes when I was 14, 15. I created Jamie Aebersold play-alongs with a 4-track recorder, and I would play over those, and I packaged them up, and I would sell them at high school. So it was just something that was just I was motivated to do, and that's what I did. So now I'm teaching most of the time, you know, at my own studio. I teach at other schools. I do clinics and seminars at different places, and I also teach. I'm an artist in resident at Southwestern Seminary, where I teach jazz, and I play for the chapel services, and you know, teach combo and private lessons. So that's what I do, and I do my online stuff. I got into the online bit, I would say, of course, when I found the opportunity to post stuff up on YouTube in 2006. I believe YouTube came out, and I started posting stuff up around that time, 2006 and 2007. Business-wise, I started looking into network marketing companies just because I wanted to learn the business and what these guys were doing. People who were in another industry outside of music, so I could take ideas from what they were doing in that particular industry and apply it to my industry as a musician. So a lot of people weren't thinking like that. A lot of musicians, they just think about, just practicing and learning music, listening to a lot of music so they go play a gig, and their whole mindset is just get a bunch of gigs or get real good so people can always call you for gigs. But I was at a point where I didn't just want that. I wanted to be able to create a business of some sort with what I did, from the standpoint of being able to help people, help musicians who are trying to aspire to do some of the things that I've done, and be able to capitalize or be able to monetize some of the experiences that I already have, and create certain programs or create a website or something like that. So eventually it led to me starting Jazz Webshed, which I started in 2009 with the whole aim to be able to educate musicians through with jazz business and marketing, because I was just organically just doing it. Put a camera up like I'm doing now and just fire off information, or I'll pick up my horn and play something that I've been working on, sometimes random, but it was just raw and organic, and that's the way that I want to keep it. And people connected with that, and I was able to make money through that way.